Welcome to the Purple Political Breakdown, and it's a little different. I decided not to stream this episode because I just want to have a conversation with you. This is going to be short, this is going to be sweet, and little updates as well. First things first, updates. Mondays will be a little different in terms of how they will proceed. I have a Discord. I've already said this before. If you want to sign up to be on the Discord, you can join my Patreon. Go to my website, www.purplepoliticalbreakdown.com. Sign up, join the Discord, and you can be part of the Monday conversations. Overall, the Mondays will be me kind of discussing what I'm discussing. My co-hosts are really busy. They'll show up if they can in spur moments, but we will be continuing the Monday episodes. Thursday episodes are, as usual, they're interview, 1v1 discussion type episodes. So, appreciate anybody who supports that, of course. With that said, I want to kind of let you guys know my revelation, basically. Now, I'm not trying to make myself seem as some type of enlightened individual. I don't try to kind of picture myself being on this moral high ground. What I'm trying to establish is that as an individual, I can at the very least take myself out of my emotions, conceptualize things, analyze things in a very different manner, and help people try to understand the way I understand on these very important issues and conversations. And as I've grown up, and I think this is important for people to hear, as I've grown up, I've come to know that these conversations are much more important than you may think. I've come back and forth throughout my life based off my ideological principles, basically. I've told you before, but let me reiterate. I grew up in Hawaii, very interesting individual area. I grew up Samoan and Jamaican. So, in terms of the principles that I was learning, it was very cultural, multicultural, basically. So, with that said, I grew up with Christianity being part of my life, but not truly being wholeheartedly embedded into the belief. I've had a military father. I've went to different areas throughout the country, Northeast, Midwest, and I've joined the military myself and get embedded into the Marine Corps culture. You can imagine, very conservative. I went to a liberal arts school. You can imagine, very liberal. I had a friend that was conservative and Republican. Got more endowed into Christian beliefs in my senior year of high school. And then obviously I kind of started becoming my own individual as I entered this content creator space, knowing that my beliefs are a lot different or more nuanced than most. And with that said, after all that, I've come to so many different opinions to the point where the left I've had issues with the radical progressives being so emotionally triggered and believing themselves to be on this moral high ground and reacting off of emotion rather than logic. I have issues with Trump supporters who seem to be such ideologically captured by Donald Trump. They will have these anti-establishment rhetoric to the point where the country that they love is the same country that they don't believe in. I've had issues with people who are supporting certain radical BLM rhetoric, thinking the entire country is systematically racist. I had problems with racists on the right who obviously think white people are better than black people or Christians are better than Jewish people. I had issues on a lot of different individuals from both sides. And a lot of people kind of feel the same way. Even content creators I had issues with. But at the end of the day, I came to realize that my solutions, the solutions that I advocate for, I'll stand by them. But I don't think people are trying to necessarily ruin the country. I don't think the majority of people are inherently evil. They may do actions that can be correlated to an evil action that has some type of association with destruction on a grand scale. But overall, I think people need to realize that most people are trying their best in the betterment of either themselves or the country. The reason why these things that I'm saying is important is because imagine yourself. Imagine, and this was a great example on one of my prior podcast episodes. Imagine you had a kid, and imagine that kid in a burning car about to explode. Even if you're a liberal, you would want the help of a Trump supporter. Even if you're a Republican, you would want the help of a progressive. Ultimately, a lot of these people not love, but care about people inherently. In their heart of hearts, they don't want to see someone else suffer. People want the best. Christians think that the Christian belief is the best for the country. Progressives think that this moral, freedom is the best for this country. Once you try to meet people where they're at, you'll be able to engage in a type of conversation that will be able to move the needle more so than it ever will move, that'll ever move by itself on its own. One principle ideologically is not strong enough to stay concrete. The reason why the United States has retained its influence for so long is because of these competing ideologies constantly battling one another and eventually appealing to the masses as society continues to grow and we adapt to the times. We want a better country. We want a better world. We want a better society. We all have that same goal in mind. So my suggestion for everybody who has listened to today's podcast episode, very short one, is that when you dive into these conversations and when you dive into these spaces and when you're ready to enter a pit of fire based off some ideological principle, my suggestion to you is take a step back. Consider the other individual on the other side trying to reach a similar goal, the goal of prosperity, of continuing society forward, the goal of a better America, of a better world. Living in society is not easy for a lot of people, despite how spoiled you may be at the end of the day. But the best way we can continuously grow a lot of the issues that we have currently in this country is if we reach a point of understanding that benefits our society at large. I think the biggest problem we're having in terms of these conversations is we don't have a proven starting point or end point more than anything. The end point should be the prosperity of family. That should be the end point. And the reason why this is important is because as a living species, the primary function or the primary thing that we should always continuously try to build upon is our continuation of our species. Mom, dad, child goes up, finds a partner, another child. That process, that function should be something that we all want, should be something that should be the most important. Even if you're gay or lesbian or trans, I think you realize the value of the process of life. So if that's the most important thing, and we know that, then in actuality, everything we do should be in adherence to that purpose, that important factor. All the other things that is a part of the conversation to increase the likelihood of survival, to increase the aspect of increasing the family. Happiness, joy, safety, food, all of this coincides with family, kids, more family, all of it. Because having a more joyful life means being a better parent to the kids so they can survive better, having the shelter to survive better, the food to survive better, and then continuing the cycle to their family. All of it is a part of this important function. I think people don't realize that this is the most important function. I feel like people don't realize why they care about the things they care about. They care about the things they care about is because it relates to this component. You as an individual, your happiness is fine. Even if you don't want children, that's fine. But we, as a society, all know that in order for America, Western society, and the world to continue to rotate, that component, that principle, that aspect of life should be the most important. Next time you dive into a conversation, dive into the conversation thinking that that individual also has the best interests of everybody. Connect to them. Really try to connect to what they're saying. It's fun debating. It's fun yelling. It's fun insulting. But the most important thing when you're talking politics or talking social and cultural issues, the most important thing is solutions. It's compromise. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here, and I do appreciate you for listening. Spread the message, and hopefully we can start getting the wheels turning in some people's heads.
Well, check it out, y'all. We got what you need. We're all living in apartments, condos, vans. Well, dude, even you can have a studio in a box. Yes, we can help you with that right here at Blind Knowledge. We work on your budget, and we figure out your measurements. We'll get you the best sound for the best price. Let me know, 877-237-1143 or at blindknowledge.com. Yep.